Yo, what's going on, guys? Welcome to the finale of the series of how to make a fire melody. Now, I know this is the moment you guys all been waiting for. I promise everything that we done talked about beforehand is going to play a huge factor in creating fire melodies. This video is probably going to be a little bit longer because we're going to cover a couple different things in terms of actual melody making, things such as layering, things such as filling up, the spaces in the rhythms, using sounds and stuff. Like we're just gonna get into a lot of different stuff. So with that being said, let's show you how to make a fire melody. You know what I'm saying? So what's going on, guys? It's your boy Illsounz, and if you're new around here, make sure that you go ahead and give this video a thumbs up. Make sure that you tap that subscription button. Go ahead and subscribe to the channel. You know, it helps. It's a little red button. It comes with like white letter and it says subscribe and stuff like that. There's also this bell little icon. You're gonna make sure that you want to hit that. If you don't like this video, if you don't subscribe, and if you don't hit that bell, you're already off to a bad start, and I'm not really gonna be able to show you how to make melodies like that. The melody isn't gonna be fire if you. That's like steps number one. So make sure that you go ahead and do that. But other than that, let's go ahead and jump right on into it. So I'm under the impression that you guys watched the other videos leading up to this video on how to make fire melodies. So that way we can basically get creative and focus on the creative aspect versus the technical aspect, which is why I chose to make a little mini series on it. So if you haven't seen those videos, make sure that you go check them out. First things first is let's lay down some chords. Let's find something. So this template that I have open actually is it's called Making Melodies. This is actually what I open up and I use anytime that I'm making melodies that I want to sample later. I sample myself. So let's just do that. And then I'll just elaborate things that I'm doing. So the first thing I'm going to do is pull up this piano roll. Cool. So we got this like cool little piano thingy here. I don't know what scale this is actually in right now. We're going to take some of that, and we're just gonna. Also, that shortcut that I just did, if you guys want to know how to do that, you can hold control, you can click and drag, and then you can hit Control B to duplicate and drag it over. Or if you want to be fancy and you want to time lock it, you can right click this timeline up here, and then you can hit Control B, so that way it copies over how it's supposed to. So let's do that twice, and then we can hit Control D to get rid of this little loop. So let's do that. Let's listen, and we're just gonna find a melody, essentially a bass melody. This is gonna be different in the end, so don't get too picky. Just make something that just sounds good, that you like. just do 2 and then we'll copy over those. So essentially what I'm doing right now is I like the chords that I chose. Right now I'm finding melodies that just I hear in my head. I know that I'm a little bit further along than some people might be, so like certain melodies just stick out to me more or jump. Like I could hear what I want the melody to be in my head as I'm doing this. That will come the more that you make melodies, essentially. I feel like this belongs here. All right, cool. So now I have a melody that I like. So essentially, let me just kind of explain and recap what I did. Like I said, if you guys watched the previous videos, most of you guys are already going to understand what I was doing and what I did and how I did it. I covered it in scales, which is how I got some of these melodies. I covered the chords and the inversions of chords in those videos. So this is what I mean by allowing me to focus on the creative aspect instead of the technical aspect, which is why I broke this mini series down into multiple videos. But to recap things, essentially what I did was I found some notes, I built chords around those notes, and then what I did was I made a couple melodies, or I chose a couple notes to make a melody, and then I started playing with the voicing of those chords. Some of them I kept in root position, some of them I inverted, you know, some of them I switched some notes, and some chords I added, you know, a note that I just thought sounded good in that chord. But like I said, if none of that made sense, what I recommend is you guys go back and watch my other videos. Right now, we're going to keep it going, and we're going to focus on the creative aspect of how to make actual fire melodies. So now that I have my fundamental melody, what I'm going to do is I'm going to hit Control S because you need to save. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy this. Now we're going to do this thing called layering. So layering is important because what I have right here is an EQ, okay? Actually, can we like default everything? Just delete this. All right, decent. So what we have is an EQ, and this spectrum that you see behind it is a frequency spectrum. So obviously, you know, we have starting from what 12. It looks like we start around like 12 hertz or whatever. So we go up anywhere from 12 hertz all the way to past a little bit 20K. Now this frequency spectrum is the sonic information that sounds have, right? So if I was to play this, I don't know, what's that on channel 8? So if I was to open up an EQ for the piano, we see that a lot of the information, right, is in between like 142 hertz all the way up to like 4,000, right? We want to fill out like kind of this whole frequency spectrum with sound. Obviously, the lower parts, that's where the 808 and the kick drum, they're going to live. Some of these upper parts are where like percussion is going to live, like hi-hats and cymbals and things of that nature, and higher percussion. And a lot of the vocal range is going to lie, or a lot of the vocals in a song at the end of the day is going to lie in this range here for the most part. And what we want to do is we kind of want to fill things out. And also we can make things texturally interesting by layering sounds. So what we're going to do is we're going to we're just going to start layering. First things first though is we are going to filter this out. So essentially what I did, this right here, I created this preset. I called it 40 because it gives us the 40 effect. It gives us that Drake. If you guys don't know who Noah 40 Shabib is, well, you're asleep. That man's the GOAT. But essentially what I did was I made this band, like I just took an EQ, right? I took a regular EQ here. Let's go like this. Let's create it from scratch. And what I did was I changed the low cut or whatever, and I'm changing the Q size of it, right? I made a high cut, and I'm changing the Q size of that, right? But what I'm doing specifically is I'm making it brick wall, meaning like, look, anything on this side of this equalizer, you ain't hearing that. It's getting cut off. Obviously, the lower the slope, right, the more gentle or easy that this filter acts like. So obviously this is a high cut filter, which means any high information that is, you know, past where this is at, it's getting cut off. Now if it's a gentle slope, that means it's gently going to cut it off. Some of this information is still going to be here, but the harsher you make this cut, the more aggressive this information is going to cease to exist. So what I'm doing is I'm just doing some filtering stuff right now. And in this video, we're going to bounce around with a couple things because it's all about creating fire melodies. And there is no step 1, step 2, step 3, step 4. It's none of that. Essentially what it is just figuring out how to try to fill up melodic space. So what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to add a little bit of retro color if I can find it. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to detune this a little bit. So I'm going to get rid of the noise and wobble, or I'm going to keep the wobble. I'm going to get rid of the noise. I'll turn the distortion down a little bit, but I'm gonna let it distort a little bit. I'm gonna give it a little bit of reverb. I'm gonna turn the focus up so that way it's getting rid of the lower frequencies of the reverb, and I'm gonna turn this high down some so it's kind of focused on that like mid-range frequencies of the reverb. And I'm gonna turn this detune up a little bit. All right, cool. Now I got something to work with, you know? So we're gonna drag this down. Let's just go back to pattern too. Could have did that. So now we're just gonna copy this, right? And then literally what I like to do is, depending on whatever, you know, VSTs you have, I just pick random VSTs. So I'm gonna throw this guy down, you know, I don't know. We'll just do something random. It's all about experimentation, so let's throw it here. Let's find a cool sound out of here and see what we can come up with. That should be the basis of making fire melodies. I showed you the concepts. I showed you the techniques. I showed you the know how to do it. Now, I would just do random stuff and just keep creating, throw random ideas at the walls. The premise of this video is pretty much going to show you how I do random stuff to come up with something fire. I'm not thinking of something fire in my head. I'm just doing things and then reacting to what I'm doing and changing up what I'm doing and shaping it into a fire melody. But anyways, let's see what this sounds like. So I kind of like that sound. Let's go over to 14 because we're definitely going to filter this out. Effects are going to make your melodies come to life. So get used to taking EQs, filtering out that high-end information. A lot of sounds are abrasive nowadays, and right now that's not really popping. You don't want just super abrasive sounds. See that? I like that a lot already. Now we're gonna see if there's anything that I can do to like kind of spice it. Oh, I forgot. This is not Studio One. I tried to type in my effect. Okay. Yeah, so Crystallizer is a cool little granular echo synthesizer. Basically, it's just granular synthesis. That's what it does. If you don't know much about granular synthesis, maybe we can make a video on it. Yeah, so then you know. If you want to learn more about granular synthesis, drop a comment below. Let me know. Do you want to learn about it? And then let's find, also this plugin is some sauce. Again, so you want to take something and then you just want to manipulate it as much as you can with like effects and stuff. Get something new. Find new things. You see how, see it? You see? It's not hard. It's not hard at all. Like, this is 3 plugins. I'm not doing anything crazy or anything like that. This is stuff that you can do too. It's just all about figuring out how to be creative. Decent. So this melody's already pretty fire, if I do say so myself, but I'm not gonna stop there. I'm gonna continue, add a couple more things to it, and try to figure out how I can make it go from like, yeah, this is fire, to like, this is fire with a capital F instead of a lowercase one. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, to it. You know what I'm saying? Cool. So essentially that is one step of creating fire melodies. Now we're gonna get a little bit advanced here, because now we're gonna switch gears and figure out how to make something that you can't really make any other way without doing this specific method. And we're gonna learn and figure out how to sample ourselves. Obviously this melody is fire, and this is something I'm gonna export, and I'm gonna throw it into my samples folder, because I'm going to use it. I'm going to make a fire beat out of it, because this is definitely some fire. You made it this far. Let's jump into the next section. All right. So right now I'm exporting the melody. What I did was I kind of arranged it out in a different section. So when I pull this sample later, I have some of the elements by themselves if I need it for whatever reason. So yeah, once this gets done exporting here, it's going to bounce down into a new little spot here. We can get rid of all of these. So yeah, that's decent. Now what we're gonna do is we're gonna pull in an instance of Fruity Slicer. So my camera died at this moment, so you're gonna see the rest of the video, unfortunately, without my gorgeous face wherever it was at in the first place. I do apologize for that. I didn't want to start the entire video over, because I finished the video and then realized, oh, memory card ran out of room. So you're still gonna be able to hear me talk. You're still gonna see what I'm doing, and yeah, you just won't see me pop back up until the end. All right, now what we're gonna do is we open up Fruity Slicer. All right, also for to kind of show you what I did, essentially what I did was I double click this, and then I grabbed this right here. I'm just gonna delete that. But yeah, I double click that, drag it. I'll make sure I open up the channel rack, and then I just drag it into the Fruity Slicer little thing. Then I just open up Fruity Slicer, and what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna click this guy right here, and I'm gonna hit slice to beat. So now it should chop up to the beat. Now this is a long, that's a long little waveform. It's like a minute there, so there's a lot of chops in there. But at this point, what you're gonna want to do is you're gonna want to turn the attack up a little bit, so that way you don't have it's like this clicking, and you just want to turn it up a little bit, and it gets rid of that clicking. And what you're gonna want to play with is this slider right here. What that is gonna do is the lower you go, the slower the timing of the sample. Or actually, it might be faster. Yeah. Okay, so it's reverse. So if you go higher, the longer the sample will be played. If you go lower, the quicker the sample will be played. Obviously, this is pitch control. So we can change the pitch of the samples. Right? Now, what I like to do from this point on, right, is I load it in there and I start playing around with these knobs until I find a sound that I like. So most of the times I usually throw this up first. And then most of the times I throw this up just a little bit. And then I start playing my chops on the piano and see what I come up with. And so essentially what I'm doing is I'm sampling myself. I'm sample chopping myself. Obviously, if you don't have a piano, you can like make sample chops with these. You can do it that way. Let's see if it's gonna. So yeah, you could do it this way. Yeah, but me personally, I like playing off the piano because I can come up with more creative things that way. So now I'm just gonna find a sample chop that I like, and then we're gonna take it to the next step. Now I have my chopped up melody, and essentially what I'm going to do is I'm going to do what I did before. I'm going to add effects. I'm going to make it, I'm going to bring it to life a little bit and see what I can come up with, because that's how you create fire things. It's all about experimentation. So yeah, let's experiment. Let's see what we can come up with. All right, so that essentially is how you can make a fire melody. So let's recap over the things that we did, so I know you guys have a clear and concise understanding. I made previous videos talking about scales. I made previous videos talking about chords. And I made previous videos talking about chord voicings, I'm sorry. And when I was making this melody at the beginning of this video, I used all those concepts and techniques to get the start of my melody. But I wasn't going to leave it there. I knew I was going to pull in different effects, such as like EQs, reverbs, delays, all these spatial ambient stuff. And I was filtering out these sounds, and I kept adding sounds and layering sounds with more sounds. I didn't make new melodies. I just copied it to different instruments in which I had, it was just a different sound. That was it. It was just layering. And then once I got a cool melody, which was already a cool melody, I exported it, saved it, boom, now I got a melody. And then I made another melody by sampling myself. I put it into the sampler and stuff, and then I chopped it up. I made a new melody out of that, changed the tempo, changed the key and the feel and everything, added some drums, and you have a melody. And so the overall story is, it doesn't matter how you make your melodies. It's all about being inventive, being creative, figuring out, you know, just new techniques and things that you can try to make new beats. And the thing is, every beat's not going to be good. You do have to understand that every beat is not going to be good. Every beat that I make isn't good. And that's just the facts at the end of the day. However, you just have to experiment with different things and to have fun. At the end of the day, your melodies are going to be fire regardless, because someone will rap on it. There are people out there who will rap on anything, no matter how bad you think it is. Hey, what's going on, guys? Thank you for tuning in, watching this entire video. Excuse the audio. This is coming off the camera audio. I do apologize. However, I'm so happy that you made it to the end of the video. We made it through the end of the series, so congratulations. I hope you take everything that you learned and keep applying it. Make sure that you revisit these videos. There's old videos that I revisit all the time. The more that you do something, the deeper the understanding of that concept that you're learning becomes. So sometimes you're gonna have to watch. You may have to watch this series, you know, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 times. Who knows? I've watched countless videos on compression. I'm still learning compression, you know, on a real audio engineering standpoint and things of that nature. So if you like this video, make sure that you give it a thumbs up. Make sure that you subscribe to the channel and make sure that you hit that post notification bell so you're notified anytime that I drop a video. If you have any comments, questions, concerns, or things that you just want to learn more about, make sure you leave a comment in the comment box below and I will respond there. Or I might make a video about it, who knows. But definitely appreciate you. I can't do it without you. My name's Illsounz, and yeah, go make some fire melodies.